I got a chance to sit down with Afghanistan's chief executive, Dr. Abdullah Abdullah, to talk about the situation in Afghanistan. I began by asking him about the future of that country, the threat from the Taliban, and the way forward for U.S. troops on the ground. Dr. Abdullah began by praising President Trump's South Asia policy, which includes a U.S. commitment that is not tied to a timeline.
I want to thank President Trump for the decision that he made. The important element of that policy, which is not the presence of troops, are not time-bound, but rather it is condition-based. That has created certainty and brought clarity about the U.S. stance in support for Afghanistan, and together we can change it. So
the status of the Taliban now, I mean, there are some reports that say the Taliban is controlling or contesting in half of your country. Is that true?
There is no doubt that Taliban are there. Half of the country, of course not, but in parts of the country, in rural Afghanistan. Recently, since they are under pressure in the rural areas, they've increased their attacks in the cities. I mean, these are terrorist acts, suicidal acts, car bombs, which has led to civilian casualties, which has been unfortunate. We believe that the South Asia policy, the new policy on Afghanistan, will force Taliban, those of them which will be convinced and persuaded that they cannot win militarily, to join the peace process.
Do you have any evidence that Iran and or Russia is supporting the Taliban inside Afghanistan?
There are reports about it, but nevertheless, we are engaging with both countries. We are trying with those countries which have established contacts with the Taliban, to say the least, to convince them that to help. There are terrorist groups which are threats to Russia as well, including Central Asian republics. And the way forward, and the best way forward, would be to cooperate with Afghanistan and the international community.
There's always been this battle here in policy-wise, dealing with Afghanistan, whether to engage the Taliban and to talk, and to engage in talks, and to try to bring some of those Taliban leaders in to the government somehow. Secretary of State Tillerson talked about this recently. Take a listen.
There are, we believe, moderate voices among the Taliban, voices that do not want to continue to fight forever. They don't want their children to fight forever. There's a place for them in the government if they're ready to come renouncing terrorism, renouncing violence, and being committed to a stable, prosperous Afghanistan.
Is that a viable way forward?
We are on the same page as far as talking to the Taliban are concerned. We have kept the door open for talks. So far, perhaps they believe that they can win militarily. Hopefully, the new policy, as well as our efforts within the country, will create conditions that those which will be willing to talk, they see an opportunity in it.
Is ISIS a factor in eastern Afghanistan particularly?
Yes, it is. ISIS is a factor in eastern Afghanistan, as well as in some parts of the northern Afghanistan. One important element in the U.S. policy has been a focus on safe havens. It's important because in insurgencies, safe havens could be training safe havens for leadership, safe havens, financial network safe havens, or ideological backing. To deal with them are essential, and hopefully the United States will find a way to engage with Pakistan.
For the Americans sitting at home, looking at the numbers, 16 years of war, 20,200 total wounded, and hundreds of billions of dollars spent. There's a portion of America that's just tired of this. What do you tell them to say it's important?
We understand that. The fact that the United States engaged in Afghanistan after September 11th, the threat of terrorism is not something that you can just simply wish it away. You have to deal with it. It's straightforward. And we are grateful to your country, your people, for supporting us. At the same time, we believe that it is doable. A few years back, there were 120,000 American troops on the ground. Today it's much less. Even with additional numbers, it's 1/10 of the number which existed there a few years back. That shows that increasingly we are shouldering the responsibility with the clear definition of the threat, which has happened as a result of South Asia policy. It is very straightforward, the situation. I'm sure that with resolve, determination, in commitment, in clear vision, it could be done.
Dr. Abdullah, we appreciate your time and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.